go. If we don't try, we won't know. It's up to us to take control. You can't deny, you gotta do what's right. Focus on the things within. In this moment, the healing begins. Here and now it starts today. Believe in yourself and you'll find your way. Like nothing is spark and it burns like a flame. Love takes time and there's so much pain. Open up your heart.
Feel it.
Let me learn, we all bleed the same. Love takes time, time and again.
Open up and feel it. What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Told Jessica I wasn't going to go live, and then I've just been feeling like it all day, actually, and hadn't really caught a break. Well, I can't say that either. I've just had stuff to do. Good afternoon, good afternoon. This is Heal It with Mike Love by K-Bong, and I don't own the rights to that music. We'll get into this in just a minute. I want to try to tag a few people. Open up and feel it.
It's all you know me, I got you. I've been waiting when you make it with a high five.
I'm not sure who else to tag. Open up your heart and feel it. Open up your heart and heal it. It's Jessica. All right, there's Miss Jessica standing behind me, getting ready for our big trip coming up. Good to have you, Donovan, Nicolette. I'm not sure who else is on here. There we go, 4 viewers. That's cool. We'll see if anybody else comes on. And if you like the content, the information, share it, because I believe it's helpful. What's up, Daniel O in the house? That was Heal It with Mike Love. That was K-Bong, and that was called Heal It, and I don't own the rights to that music. So something I've been wanting to talk about is the divine design. And I believe it's over there in Ephesians in the Bible, but it says till we all, me and a friend of mine, hey Joy, me and a friend of mine, Jason Roach, were talking this morning. We talk probably a few times a week, and at least one time a week. And we're always, we get, you know, sometimes you have those people that you and same with Jessica, we get in these conversations in the morning, and I'm always like, man, we should have recorded that, because it's just all this new, fresh stuff comes out. We talk about dreams and visions and what we're feeling and signs that, you know, all kind of things. And just what comes out is just always extraordinary, brand new. It's always brand new. It's inspirational. We're in the flow. We're not planning it. That's why I haven't been doing a lot of lives, because it's almost kind of like, okay, I like to be spontaneous, and it's been kind of hard for me to be spontaneous while working at the same time because we're busy, which is a blessing too. And it's like the more I clean, and I'll get into this, the more I clean, the more things just start to come and appear. And I'm not working so hard for it to come, it's just coming. And then I'll turn around and I'm going, wow, how did that even happen? And the only thing I can say is I'm letting go and continuously, moment by moment. And we still have our moments. Like I really got triggered a lot. What day was that, babe? There you go. On Saturday, I told you I didn't feel so good about the day I had because I kind of went off on the kids a few times. Saturday?
Yeah.
Was that Saturday or Friday? Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. And I was really, man, I can beat myself up. I don't know if anybody else can. That's why I put that post up. Like, it's not you that's actually disappointed in you. We can separate ourselves, or we can detach from the data because it's just a memory that's replaying. You ever get something triggers you, and it's almost like you're in this tunnel. It's like you have tunnel vision, and I've even had half a day when that went on, and it was as if I was viewing this from the outside, and I knew it was going on, and I was still in it. And that's why I know it's data. It's the programming. And the thing about the programming that I've come to know is that we came here with it. Now we do acquire certain things from teachings and stuff like this, but we would not even attract that into our lives if it wasn't already within us. That's the law of resonance, the law of magnetism, the law of attraction is what it is. So underlying everything, what you're consciously aware of, there's a subconscious, there's an unconscious, there's this, what the Hawaiians call the inner child, or the only begotten son, the son. So you got the father, mother, son. And then you've got, now this is all one being, and we'll just jump right into this. This is all one being. I love the way they describe it because it helps me to understand what I've been through, the reasons, and I had to go through all this now. I had to go through trying to will it and make it my own, and trying to create what I want it to create, and learning the mechanics of healing and the mechanics of manifestation, kind of like Neville Goddard talked about. But those are the law. That's the law. That's working the law. And I see it as working the universal laws. So you got all these universal laws. You can look into it. I think the Kabbalion talks about it. I know it does. And you can learn. You can really learn all that, and you can manipulate universal laws to get what you think you want and need. But the thing about it is, we don't even know what we want and need. And I'll explain that a little better. I've come full circle. I'm not in, and it is true. The vision I had and the message I was given that Uriel belongs to Alexander, and Alexander means the protector of the truth of mankind. So Uriel belonging to the protectors of the truth of mankind. Well, Uriel, we know, is an archangel. I didn't know it when I was given this message at the time. I looked it up in the Strongs, and I knew it as God's flame. And it is God's flame, God's fire. And Uriel, which at the time I said, gosh, you've given me your flame, because in a very miraculous, just supernatural, which is really natural because everything's supernatural. But the way, my phone one morning, I had a brand new phone, and I went to look up something on the Strongs, a word I was given. I saw it in a vision, bubble letters. I went to look it up, and because it was a brand new phone, I didn't have Strongs on my phone, so I had to Google Strong's Concordance so that it would come up. And as soon as I typed in STR, it came up Strong Concordance, Hebrew 222. I've been seeing 222 everywhere probably for a year. I was following 222. I was showing up to meetings because I was following these numbers and stuff. and so it said Strong Concordance, Hebrew 222, Greek 222, and Hebrew 222 is Uriel, and Greek 222 is belonging to Alexander, which is my name. And my name means the protector of the truth of mankind. So in Alexander, the spirit of Alexander, like the spirit of Jeremiah, the spirit of fire. And we'll talk, and we'll get into that. But so I look up, Uriel says God's flame, and I go, oh my God, God's flame belongs to me, And then along the way, in all these encounters that I couldn't even tell you how they happened, they just happened. I run into a guy out in the middle of nowhere. He's special forces, and he starts to tell me about and I didn't know Uriel was an archangel at the time. I'd been to Africa, thought I had the fire of God. I was told to release the fire of God, and things were happening when I was speaking. Hey, Mama Sherry. Hey, Tina. Good to have you. And I get back and I meet this ex-special forces guy out in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about out in the middle of nowhere. Because I'm looking at a roof way out in the middle of nowhere. And his wife ends up getting healed her knee, and fire hit her knee. And he ends up telling me the story about a firefight he was in what he said was nowadays Babylon. He said, King Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon. And he stopped, as he started, he stopped all of a sudden. He said, and he looked at me and said, I don't know why I'm telling you this, because I only tell my brothers this, and I only talk to my fiance about these things. So, and I said, well, I don't know either. And so he goes into this story. He was in a firefight in nowadays Babylon. And he said everybody in the suburban he was in was shot and killed. And he was in there. And he rolls out. And when he rolls out, he's on his knees. And he catches a round from an AK-47 into his shoulder, blows his shoulder out, drops his weapon. He goes down to pick up his weapon, except he can't use his arm, of course. It's gone. And he's on his knees, and he said, and when I looked up, and he looked over at me, and he said, have you ever seen The Matrix? And I was like, yeah. He said, man, everything went Matrix around me. He said, the bullets slowed down. They were bending around me. I could see like this substance they were flying through, almost looking like water. And he said, out of nowhere, this being appears in front of me. And the being was glimmering. I either said gold or silver, I don't recall. I'd like to say gold, but I'm going to tell you truthfully, I don't recall. And he said it was so bright that he couldn't look at it, and he looked away. And this being, and he heard this being say, my name is, and I believe he said it like, Rael. And there will be more. And he said he wakes up in a hospital and he's saying this archangel's name over and over and over. And he said they found him 20 feet away from the firefight. And he tells me all about this, about what I pronounce it Uriel. And he tells me all about Uriel. I did not tell him anything about what had happened to me. He tells me all about this archangel Uriel. So now there's an archangel belonging now. And so, a few years go by, and it's just, it's almost like I hate to use the word cursed, but I'm obsessed with these encounters and these visions. And so now Uriel belongs to me. Now it's an archangel, and it's God's flame. And I'm going, is this me? Am I connected with this archangel? I want to meet the archangel, and I have encounters, and then I was told I was tethered to the archangel, and either I'm a fragment or it's a fragment of me. I don't know. All I know is Uriel belongs to Alexander. And so one morning I'm writing the testimony out again, and I write Uriel, and the words literally separate on the page in front of me. Just, they do. And I can't explain to you how that happens, but it happened. And it read U separate, R, I-E-L together as one. So you are the I and the L, God, as one being. And it just set me on fire, because I've been seeing that we are, and humility is to receive all that we are, right? Well, the intellect, which some people call, I would say, the ego, the intellect likes to take these things and say, okay, I made this is mine, I created this. And what I found is that the intellect, most of us, including myself, have been running purely on the intellect just about. And so I've been running around trying to manifest things that I think I need and want. I've been taking credit for things that the intellect. Now I'm talking about the intellect here, not the whole being. I'm going to get into that. I've been taking credit for things like healings and miracles and all that. The intellect. I did this. I figured out the mechanics behind it and I worked it and because I know what you need and I know what I need, and which is bullshit. We don't. And I'm going to tell you how. There's studies out. There's a book called babe, what's that book over there? I'll find it in a minute. I'll put it in the comments. That book over there, it's one of the new books I got. It's called No. It's got a strange name. It's kind of a small, thick book. Anyway, I'll find it. User Illusion, the User Illusion. And in this book, they did all these studies, and they found that even like intentions, even like ideas, even like the intellect likes to take these things and say, "I did that." But what they found, even thought, they found was coming from a unconscious area before the brain lit up. They found that it was coming from somewhere else that we weren't consciously aware of. Even like coming on here and doing this live, even like reaching out and grabbing this phone. Before I reached out and grabbed the phone, that thought, that idea to do that came from somewhere else. So and then they found out that the intellect is moment by moment, every second is only processing 15 bits of information every second or every moment. But what our subconsciously, unconsciously, our entire being is processing is 11 to 15 million bits of information. So what I'm consciously aware of is only a fragment, a small fragment of everything that's going on all the time that I'm actually processing. My entire being is processing here. So how could I possibly know? Outside of receiving divine inspiration, how could I possibly know? I can't. It's the divine design. It humbles me. I have to depend on another part of me that I'm not consciously aware of. And here's the deal. So the intellect only processes 15 bits out of the 11 or 15 million bits of information being processed every second. So it does not know. But it thinks it knows everything. And it thinks. So the whole thing about thinking things through, let's talk it out. Let's explain this to you so you can understand it. When in all honesty, you cannot. You can only encounter and experience. And then we go trying to explain that. But what we're trying to explain is a fragment of the whole. So, like for instance, when it says to take no thought, right? Why does it say that? Because when I think, the only way I can think is to compare what I'm seeing and experiencing to a past occurrence, a memory. And then I judge the experience or what I'm seeing to the memory of the past occurrence as good, bad, in between, whatever. And I call things to be what they are not. And so what happens is we've been seeing in part. We've been operating in part, is what I'm saying. Merely off the intellect. But now it's time to operate by the entire being. The divine design is to know God. And to know God is to know the whole being. To know God is to let go of knowing. That's the divine design. So I'm given opportunities all day, every day, moment by moment, to let go, emptying myself of the memory, which the memories are like clouds. It's like wearing a dark pair of glasses where I can't see everything really well. Everything looks blurry. It's distorted. So what happens is I'm born into this visible plane, visibility. And I already have the full package of everything. I already have everything, including I have a bank full of memories. And the memories are ancient. They go all the way back to our infancy, you could say, back to the tree, where we started to take thought. And the problem is not taking thought. The problem is not the intellect. We need to love the intellect. We also need to love our inner child, our subconscious mind. We also need to love our superconscious spirit, the breath of inspiration part of us. We also need to love the divine creator part of us, which the intellect does not know and cannot know, because it's hostile towards God, right? Right, hostile. Satan, the adversary. But the intellect was actually given to us as a gift, truly as a gift, to choose. And you say, to choose what? Well, moment by moment, I can choose to either engage the memories. I can choose to think, which requires thinking, which requires me to choose my own path and to think it through, which is very arrogant if you think about it. I'm going to make my own path when everything's already been given to me, and all I have to do is rest and everything's done for me. Or I'm going to choose it. I know the better way, and I'm going to choose my own path. I'm going to think it through. I'm going to figure it out logically and reason it out. But the intellect does not know. It knows a piece. So the only thing you're figuring out is 15 bits out of 15 million bits of information every moment. So the only real choice is to let go and to trust the divine creator, our divine creator, our being that has provided everything. So all these memories are stored in there and they're sleeping in there. And so I've come here to learn who I am. I've come here to get to know myself, and also to make amends or to let go, to free myself, freeing really all of creation. And we could get into the whys and all that, but we're not going to do that right now because it would go a very long time. So these memories, which we came here with, you say, well, I went back and I reframed my childhood. Well, you better go all the way back to the beginning of time, because that's your childhood. We're talking about a whole body here that's been evolving or maturing. And you say, okay, evolving, and just today I was like, we're not really evolving. We're letting go of everything we're not. Another's image. We're letting go so that we can be that perfect image and exactness, the exact likeness of God, who is our being, which is void and clear of thought and memory and beliefs and judgment. Pure in heart. The pure in heart shall see all things pure. It's the pure in heart that shall see God, who is all things pure. The canvas of reality is clear and only becomes distorted and misrepresented as the memories, which are also, it's a package deal, it's a feeling that crystallizes into a thought form that's then projected by me, the projector, onto the canvas, a clear canvas like a movie screen, misrepresenting the clear canvas, the purity of it. And what we've been doing is engaging the canvas, thinking the movie's going to change when the same film keeps replaying, giving us another opportunity to let go and to trust that the divine creator is going to transmute that or dissolve all things into itself. The truth dissolves or transmutes all things into the truth, right? Love transmutes all things into love. Void transmutes all things into void. It separates the clouds of memory, so a ray of inspiration, light photons, right? Information, data, which is the primary data, which is pure and brand new, comes shining through. And when I'm empty, I can hear it and receive it, and then I don't think about it. I just follow it. You ever had something happen? You just ended up somewhere, and you're like, dang, and all these things happen. And you're like, man, how'd that happen? Well, I was clear and empty, and I just followed the inspiration. I didn't even have to think about it. If I'm thinking about it, if I'm going, well, should I do this or should I do that? I'm still not clear. I need to clean. I need to get clear. And there's different ways to do that. I was also told that this circular breathing clears thought. It clears. It's like hitting the reset button. I also believe it's as easy as me just coming within and saying thank you. And I've got some testimonies to share about how this is really working. And there's fruit in it. And it's just so simple. It's very tough for the intellectual, which is me. I'm very intellectual. So here's a good thing. If I see a problem or a situation, if I see a speck in my brother's eye, if I see a problem or situation that somebody's not doing something right, I must first remove the beam or the memory from my own eye, because what's going on right there is the memories within my subconscious mind are being projected and replaying as a problem. Who's always present when there's a problem? I am. You are. So what's the problem? It's not you. It's the memories. You've just been given another opportunity to transmute, setting us all free. Because when I'm stuck in the program, we're all stuck in the program. Till we all come to the unity of the faith, till we all come to the knowledge of God, the whole being. The whole being. And so when I'm clear, I receive inspiration. It's the divine design, is to let go. And in a real practical way of how this looks, I'll give you a real good example. I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to name any names. It's just an experience I had. So I got a haircut, right? And man, I'm really digging my haircut. I'm really loving my haircut. My love cut it for me. It's a mohawk, and I like it. And so anyway, I'm just happy about my haircut. I'm going around. I'm like, yeah. And so I meet this person, and they ask me about my haircut. What do you call that haircut? Man, this is a mohawk. I'm kind of laughing, and they go, you need to cut that off. You just need to cut that. And so I perceive a problem, and I feel it. It's painful because I like my haircut. Now, I cannot tell you, I'm not even going to try to figure out what memory that is. Memory of lack, memory of another's image, me not being myself. Well, I don't know. I don't care to know. It's exhausting to try to figure that out. It's exhausting to go through therapy or something and try to go in there and reframe your past. It's innumerable. It's mountainous. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to try to figure out what I need to manifest all the time. It's exhausting to try to figure out what I need and what I want. It's exhausting to plan out my day. What's not exhausting is resting and letting go and trusting our being, the divine creator, which is a part of the whole, which is the whole, that everything's taken care of. How much education does a bird need to be a bird, or a squirrel need to be a squirrel, or the lily of the field to be a lily? Every seed produces after its own kind. So do we really need to get out there and till the ground to produce seed? Come on. It's set up that way. It's set up for us to let go. So it hurt. Now, in the past, before I started to practice and really this inner life and becoming aware and just and shutting up, I would have come back and be like, well, who are you to try to tell me how my hair needs to be? Because it offended me. I felt it, but it didn't. I laughed it off. On the inside, I'm going, man, the wheels start to turn, and I'm observing all these thoughts. Well, you need to go give them a piece of your mind. You need to go. You should have said this and you should have done that. You should now, and also you should go talk to Jessica about it. I didn't even do that. Every time it came up, and it came up a lot, let me tell you, I almost lost sleep over it. I simply said thank you. Thank you for another opportunity to free you and to free myself. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. So this is going on. Well, eventually I forget about it. This was on Sunday. This is Monday. So I'm riding around today. This is a real simple example of it. I didn't tell anybody. Every time it came up, I just said, thank you. I love you. I just said, thank you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry for whatever is in me that attracted this experience. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. That's all I did. Didn't say anything. So I'm going around my day now. I forgot about it. I'm just running out my day. I'm still enjoying my haircut, you know. And all of a sudden, this person calls me out of the blue, and I talked to them, and they said, "Hey, I just wanted to call you." Now, I never talked to them, never talked to anybody, nobody about it. I simply talked to God about it, and I didn't complain about it. I just said thank you. This person calls me out of the blue, and they apologized today. Said, "Hey, I was just thinking that maybe what I said may have offended you, and I just wanted to apologize. I wasn't saying I don't like your haircut. Actually, I really like your haircut. And I'm just sorry that I said what I said." Now, what did I do? What what did I do? I mean, really. I didn't do anything. I just said thank you. I kept my mouth shut. I did keep my mouth shut. Because here's what happens. When I open my mouth and I try to talk it out, I'm engaging the memory. What I'm really doing is trying to prove my own point, my own perception, but perception is skewed because everything we're perceiving is built off of a belief system, which is built off of every occurrence, good, bad, in between, over my lifetimes. And it's distorting reality. And now I'm engaging the movie screen, hoping the movie changes, when really I need to go into the projector and change the film. Well, I don't know what film I need to change. So really what I need to do is let go and petition the divine creator part of me by saying thank you, who's going to come in and transmute the memory in due time. And then when I expect something, an outcome to happen, I even say thank you to the outcome because it's a memory too. And now I'm just living my life, enjoying and observing experiences free from judgment. Just because I thought it does not mean I did it, because my thoughts are not me. But they're memories. So now I'm detaching myself from the memory. I'll give you another example. I said on Saturday I was blowing up on the kids, and they were triggering the heck out of me. I mean, 5 kids, constant bombardment of questions, 3-4-year-olds, pitching their, when they don't get something, they throw something, and then they're over it real quick. They forgive very, very quick. And I was like, grit my teeth, and then all of a sudden my son, what was it? What did he do? He did something, didn't he?
He was turning on and off the lamp.
He's over there turning on and off the lamp. And I was like, "Joe, no, son, stop. You can't keep flicking the light on and off, And he turns around and he's got his lip out and he goes, and he throws his bowl. And I felt, man, it was quick. That reaction was quick. That memory, and I was like, I went to get up, and then out of nowhere, and all day I'd been saying, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you. And out of nowhere, I just sat back down. I took a deep breath in, and I calmly got up and walked him over to the chair so he could think about it. Now that is that's progress for me. That's a win for me, if you want to call it a win. But I can't tell you how all of a sudden I just was able to do what I did. I'm simply just turning within and observing the thought. There's many more. I'll give you another example. This would be viewing as a problem. So a friend of mine calls me and he says, "Man, him and his wife, they got into a little spat, and she had planned this day to go out and get their nails done, her and one of the daughters, and they're a blended family." And he says, "Well, why don't you also take her with you?" And she says, "Well, that's not what I was wanting to do." And it gets into why are you always trying to control me, blah, 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 this kind of thing. And I said to him, I said, "Well, Jason, how'd that work out trying to talk it out like that?" didn't work out too good. And then I was like, I'm looking from the outside looking in now. Now he shares it with me, so it's a shared memory. So really, I should be cleaning. But me and him we talk like this. We're both practicing this and helping one another. And I said, well, when you said, why don't you do it this way? Really what you had done is perceived a problem, which was a memory that was replaying in your subconscious mind as a problem. And you opened your mouth and you went around the same old mountain and you ended up back at the same place and your head was spinning because you didn't get anywhere at all. So even when the thought appears that someone is not doing something the right way, I do it all the time with Jessica, and I catch myself a lot too. But I also open my mouth a lot, and it doesn't get anywhere. It goes round for round. Thankfully, she's super gentle, and she's practicing this too, and she just takes it within most of the time. Very rare that me and her, get into that, but it happens sometimes. So when I perceive something, like let's take a good example would be bathing the kids or something. Well, why didn't you put all of them in the bathtub at the same time? Well, when that thought comes up, well, she should have done it this way. I've just perceived a problem. And if I'm perceiving a problem, it's my own lens that needs to be cleansed. There's a beam in my eye, and it's the memory. Well, the only way I know how to get to the memory is simply by saying, love your enemy. You've perceived it as an enemy. It's not the enemy. Jesus said, love your enemy, so I just receive it in love. Thank you. And when I say thank you, I'm trusting divinity to transmute the memory. And then I patiently wait. You don't talk to anybody, because when you talk to people, you're engaging it again. You'll go around the same mountain. So moment by moment throughout the day, the divine design that's in the Bible is to trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, which is your intellect. And the Lord is divinity. It's the divine intelligence source. But the intellect does not go straight to the source. It cannot. It does not know source. So the prayer actually goes down into the inner child and up through spirit into divinity, who then sends pure energy down into the inner child to transmute the memory that's been replaying as problems. And this is where we get so clear that things just happen. The more I let go, the more doors open, the more things show up, and I cannot tell you how. I've had issues. Check this, here's another one. I've had issues on my job with insurance companies paying my estimates according to the way I've written them. So they're always adjusting them, and they're not paying for certain things. And I have tried every way possible. I've tried to email them with facts. I've tried to debate them. I tried to send all this information, the reasons why, blah, 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 blah. Nothing works. It's like talking to a brick wall. So I stopped engaging altogether. And I simply started saying thank you. And I'd go do my same old thing. I'd send the estimates. Inspiration came for me to change certain things. I did. And now they're just writing the check based off my estimate, and I'm not getting much of a fight at all. How'd that happen? This has been going on for years, since 2010. Now, how all of a sudden is it just happening the way it's happening? Because I let go. I gave it over. By just saying thank you. By not opening my mouth, by not debating, by not engaging. It's the divine design. It's to trust that part of us. Now, who am I? I am the divine creator. I am the superconscious spirit, breath of inspiration. I am the conscious mind and intellect, the mother. I am also the only begotten son, the inner child. The subconscious mind. I am all of that. That is the whole being. That is to know God. And that until we all come to a perfect mankind, which means operating at full potential. That is operating at full potential. To operate at full potential is not to go around and wield and manipulate all the universal laws. To operate at full potential is to come into the promise of the inheritance which is we are who we are, is to let go and to trust that we're in the garden and everything's been being taken care of for us. It's being done for you. What does the bird have to do to get a worm? Did it make the worm? It just flies down and picks the worm up. What does the lily have to do to be a lily, to come up? Does it bring the rain? Does it also make the soil and the nutrients and the sunlight and everything it needs? No. It's the divine design that just comes up. It lets go. What does the caterpillar have to do to become a butterfly? It's got to let go of the caterpillar. It's got to let go of the caterpillar so it can be what it's always been, the beautiful butterfly, which was always within the caterpillar. What do we have to do to be gods? It's to let go of who we thought we are and to trust that everything is just the way it should be. Peace. I love you all. Hope that helped. Got lots of practical examples I could share, but that was long, and I hope it helped. So, Jesus said, clean the inside of the cup. Stop worrying about the outside of the cup. You're trying to clean the outside of the cup, the movie screen, hoping the movie changes. And really, we need to clean the inside of the cup. And because we don't actually know everything that needs to be cleaned, the intellect doesn't. We just have to let go. The gift to choose is the intellect. I can choose to think, or I can choose to let go and let God. Which there's no separation, so I'm not talking about some separate being. I'm talking about us. Peace.